I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, January the 22nd, brought to you in part by Macrocin by Bimeda. Macrocin is a bold, straight-shooting telithromycin injection, or generic Draxin, that does what it's supposed to do for you, for your cattle, and most importantly, for your bottom line. For more information, go to macrocin.com. Also, Joplin Regional Stockyards, back to work here on this Monday for the feeder cattle sale, expecting 10,000 head, be lots of yearlings, 50 plus load lots of yearlings, and a lot of weaned calves, and hard weaned calves. I don't mean weaned in a muddy lot just away from their mothers for 45 days, but I mean weaned and turned back out. As good as yearlings, guys. Have a lot of cattle there at Joplin today on Monday, and then coming up on Wednesday here, the 24th, they're going to have a special cow sale, expecting 800 head for it. Going to start at 4:30 in the afternoon after their weigh up cow and bull sale there. They've got several consignments of black and red Angus bred heifers and young to running aged bred cows. They're going to have a lot of these cows and bred heifers are going to start calving the last part of February through the first part of March there, just like you'd want. Then they've got a consignment from the Moriando Simmental Angus herd there that would be pretty interesting to look at too, guys. So don't forget the special cow sale at Joplin on Wednesday. Big feeder sale here on Monday. Back to work. We've had the big holiday break, and then had the weather break there. Some of the markets worked there right after or during the New Year's week there, but then went back on break. But it's time to go back to work. And I'm talking about the cattle marketing people, the bull haulers, the sale barn guys, everybody, the cattle buyers, everybody that's involved in the marketing part of it. Of course, your producers and your cattle feeders, they've been working right through the miserable blizzards and cold snap there, and having kind of a rough go of it. But it's time for them to kind of get back to some kind of a normal work schedule there, get the yards back in shape for new cattle coming in, because there'll be a pile of them. Weather's going to be reasonable here this week. Now they've got a little ice deal coming through the Ozarks, and then going to head out there to the eastern corn belt, but it'll push through early in the week, and then it looks like reasonably good and really nice weather here for this part of the year. So it's going to be big run time. I mean, all your sale barns are going to have big runs. There'll be big runs, like I said, in Joplin. Oklahoma National Stockyards will have a pile. OKC West will have a pile. Russell, Iowa will have a pile. There's going to be a lot of cattle. I don't know if the market that we've achieved right here at the end of this week, because you know, a lot of the early week sales this past week were shut down because of the continued cold, and then the feedlots were clogged up, no place for the cattle to go. But late this last week, things got really good, and we're setting that kind of a peak here. I don't know if this market that we have right now can withstand these huge runs of feeders and big calves that's going to be coming this week, but huge runs everywhere, especially the Midwest. I mean, lots and lots of big fancy calves. Chronologically, there'll be calves, they'll be big as yearlings, but they'll be long time weaned. But the feedlots need to replenish, but they haven't sold many cattle through the holidays or the cold spell there, and we're expecting a big slaughter. Finally, it's time to have a big slaughter this week. I'm sure they'll run full bore, and probably on Saturday too. We had a pretty good Saturday this last Saturday at 34,000 head. Biggest Saturday we've seen in a long time. But the futures were good all week. Cattle futures were good all week, right up through the end of the week. Then we had the cattle on feed report, and it was neutral. Fantastic. So the neutral cattle on feed is going to be a positive note too. I expect your board to be up here to start the week on Monday. All your big Monday sales are going to be sharply higher than the last sale that they had, if they can remember the last time that they had a sale. But everything's going to be going gangbusters. Everybody going to be working full bore this week. We talked about the cattle on feed report. Your January 1st inventories came in at 102.1. That is not bearish because it's over 100. It's 102.1. We know we got a lot of cattle in the feedlot. We don't have a lot of cattle that are outside the feedlot. But your guesses were 102.2. So right there, perfectly neutral. Placements came in at 95.5 compared to the estimate of 95.5. Exactly neutral. And what kind of shocked me a little bit is your marketings came in really close to estimates too. 99.1% of a year ago on marketings, and even though our change speeds have been slow, your guesses were 99.3. So well close enough to that to keep from having any kind of bearishness there. So that was all a positive. Let's talk about your futures for last week. February live cattle futures, of course Monday was a holiday. Tuesday was up 175, Wednesday was down 2 cents, Thursday up 172, and Friday down 45 is all. But your February live cattle futures ended the week at 174.37, which was up $3 for the week. Big gain. April live cattle ended the week at 177.37, which was up $3.20. So very impressive live cattle board. Feeder board even more so. Of course, Monday was MLK Day. They shut everything down. Tuesday was up 97. Wednesday was up 87. Thursday was up $2.50, and Friday down, but just down 82. And January feeder cattle ended the week at 230.10. That was up 353 for the week. March feeder cattle up 4 1/4 at 231.95. Everything looking really positive for cattle. March corn, Chicago Board of Trading futures 445.5. That was down 1.5 for the week. March beans ended the week at 1213 1/4. That was up 7.5 cents a bushel for the week. And Kansas City hard red winter wheat for March ended the week at 608 a bushel, down 7 1/4. Now, here's the problem. No fat cattle trade. I mean none. Through Thursday, all the way through Thursday, any trade, of course Monday was a holiday, but Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, through Thursday, they sold 700 cattle, negotiated cash in your 5-area feeding region. I keep telling you guys, one of these days we're not going to know what the price is on cattle because there's no price discovery, but nobody wanted to support Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act that we can still get pushed through. We've got to get something done here. We're going to be like the hogs. Nobody's going to know what the market is. You got to deliver the cattle to the plant, let them kill them, sell the meat, and then decide what they're going to do for you, kind of like the sheep are too. It's not a good deal. We need some price transparency. We need market discovery. It's ridiculous. So those 700 cattle, any podunk sale barn would sell more cattle than that compared to all the feedlots in your 5-area feeding region. Live price was 172 to 175, which was steady to $2 higher as a trend, but your weighted average was all jacked up because there wasn't enough cattle in there to amount to anything. No dressed trade last week all through Thursday. No dressed trade at all. So Friday, finally saw some trade on Friday. It's getting to where it's just completely late week, but hardly anything. We'll see what they did late Friday, but it's going to be minuscule trade. But on Friday, Iowa sold 3,700 head before 2 o'clock, which is when the reporting is done. Only 4,200 for the week. Live price in Iowa on Friday was 172 to 175, which the 175 is going to be $1 or $2 higher there. Some dress trade from 273 to 277. Nebraska sold 3,500 early on Friday, just 3,600 for the week. Live price in Nebraska 173, which is about steady, and dress trade from 272 to 274. Now, Kansas and Texas had 0 sales all week last week up through 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. 0. No sales. So there's no price discovery there at all. And I talk to cattle people all day, every day. I'm texting, tweeting, snapping, talking to them, calling them, everywhere. Of course, I was up in the Northwest and then out west in Nevada late last week, but still talking to them every day. Nobody knew what the fat cattle market was in the southern plains. How does that make you feel when you have no idea what the market is? I finally called Casey Bradshaw with Consolidated Beef Producers. He's on top of the market, one of the few guys that sells negotiated cattle for a few independent yards there. And he was in Fort Worth with his daughter showing lambs and heifers probably too. But he said they did have a few at 173, but I mean hardly any. So there's your market. And that's about steady. But these packers do not want to compete against each other. They don't want to negotiate, and they really don't want you to know what the market is. They'll tell you what they want you to know after they take the cattle in, and then how are they going to price these formula cattle? Everybody's sitting back with their sweetheart formula deal, feeling really good about it. That formula has a base price, guys, and there's no cash trade to establish it. It's just ridiculous. Box beef cutout values were higher, a bunch higher. They finally convinced those wholesale beef buyers that they've got to have more for the beef. Your Packers did. Packers had it great last week. Of course, they had cattle backed up. That they were able to get a pretty decent slaughter done with some early week interruptions, but after that, not too bad. Then got cattle backed up, kept the market close to steady when it should have been a lot higher, had a little bit of higher trade, and then they got a bunch more for their box beef cutouts, so they're back in the black pretty well. But box beef cutouts, your weighted average for all of last week's choice cuts was up 1188 compared to the previous week's weighted average. That's a bunch. With a weighted average price of $295.33, your late Friday cutout value was just about the same as that, $295.50. Your select weighted average on all of last week's sales was up $14.29. Big gains. $280.47 for the weighted average. Your late week select cut price was $283.05, $2.50 higher than that. Of course, this time of the year, we don't see people going out too much because they're too broke from Christmas, so we're not seeing a lot of gain or a premium on your highest cuts there, your high quality cuts, and your choice select spread is under $15 now. With your loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings at $571, which is a lot less than what we saw there before the holidays and through the holidays. Your slaughter for last week, 617,000, which is really light, but considering how much interruptions you had early last week, it's not terrible. It was 71,000 more than the blizzard week, but still 30,000 less than the same week a year ago. And we did have that Saturday slaughter of 34,000. We're expecting Saturday slaughter to be something like that here going forward, as your packers are about out of product. They've got to get going again. Let's talk about what else is going on. Ever.ag has agents that work with multiple clients in the livestock industry to help answer questions and to help you navigate risk management with Ever.ag. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DVAuction. Late in the weekend there, still coming to you from Fallon, Nevada. Had a late flight back, spent all weekend in Fallon, but you ended the week, your real-time index ended the week at 230,369, up $7.99, almost $8 there for the week. Big gains. Gained $2.18 over the weekend. That's how good these late week sales guys were. And your last established CME cash feeder cattle index was at 227.26, but it has got a lot of catching up to do here early in the week. Talk about your cash feeder cattle trends in your sales. Where they had comparisons, it was sharply higher, of course. But it's just, you know, they didn't have a sale the week before. Some of them moved their sale, like Callaway Livestock Center. They had a great sale on Friday, but they normally sell on Monday, but they're going to have another big sale here on Monday, this Monday. Just hard to test, but the market's sharply higher than the last test. Talk about your big sales late last week or over the weekend. I got to talk about the biggest sale we had last week anywhere, and that was Nevada Livestock Marketing here in Fallon, Nevada, at 7,800 head. Sold Friday and Saturday there. That facility has got some age on it, guys, and it's not easy to handle that many cattle. Of course, you got smaller producers, and the cattle got to be sexton sized and everything, and it just takes a while to get them through. But excellent sale at Nevada Livestock Marketing. The market's been really good out west here. A lot of moisture in California, a lot of stocker demand. Those stockers are starting to get full now because they turn their cattle out in the wintertime, and they're just about covered their needs. But there's a lot of inexpensive hay out west. Washington, Oregon, California. I mean, hay is cheap, dirt cheap. It's just a freight to get it to where other people need it. It's what kills it. It's like hauling water or something. But a lot of cattle out of Oregon, Idaho, of course Nevada and California there at Fallon at Nevada Livestock Marketing. I pulled the biggest strings of steers out so you could see how well the cattle sold out here, and I was lucky enough to get to come out and see so many buddies that I've gotten to know really well out here. I get to auctioneer with my buddy John Hanger. He's still hanging in there. We have a lot of fun together, and I miss being able to work at the sale on a regular basis. I love to come out here on the feeder specials whenever my schedule allows, and enjoy some camaraderie there with everybody, be involved in the sale, stay up half the night rehashing it, and it's just a good time if you like that sort of thing, which I do. But look at these big strings of cattle. These are individual strings that sold. I'm going to pull out some really impressive ones. 73 steer calves. Nevada Livestock Marketing weighed 446 and bring 346. There was 93 steers in one group, weighed 5 1/4, bring 325 1/2 in northern Nevada. 84 steers weighed 628 at 281. And 74 steers weighed 739. Of course, we're a long ways from any big commercial feedlots, and still bring 240. So really good sale at Nevada Livestock Marketing. Enjoyed being a part of it. They're going to have another feeder cattle special on February the 2nd, which I won't be able to go to, and then another one on February the 15th, which I likely won't be able to make either. But they're selling cattle at Fallon at Nevada Livestock Marketing. Your National BeefWire stick-out sale of the day was Lexington Livestock Market in Lexington, Nebraska. 3,400 head on Friday. Wow. Look at this automated marker report through Cattle Market Central. Look at your best tested weights. 250 head of cattle. Now these are all bunched up in a 5-weight category. Average 558 with a weighted average price of 304.26. 580 head of 6-weight steers, average 669 at 264.01. 648 head of the 7-weight steers, average 744 at 246.67. 325 head of 8-weight steers, averaged 839 with a weighted average price on all of them of 232.87. Look at some heifer groups. 329 head of the 5-weight heifers, average 557 at 263.28. 524 head of the 6-weight heifers, average 654 at 243.33. And 417 head of the 7-weight heifers, average 758 pounds with a weighted average price of 223.85. I'll give you some individual quotes that are very impressive. How about Crawford Livestock Market, Crawford, Nebraska? My friend the Robertsons there. They sell 102 steer calves, weighed 512 at 337. How about Fort Pierre Livestock Auction, Fort Pierre, South Dakota? 85 steers weighed 619 at 294.5. Wow. But the most impressive quote, and boy was it impressive, that I saw anywhere late last week or over the weekend, in your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day, come out of Mankato Livestock in Mankato, Kansas. Wow. How about 94 steers weighed 821 and bring 245.50? That's your feeder flash for Monday.